Today is Keys to Success number 52, which means we've been at this for about a year. And we're going to talk about probably our most controversial and favorite topic offline, which is you being online. And we think it's an appropriate topic because these keys to success are designed to help you to stay better. For most of you who are watching, there certainly is a smaller portion of you who are watching that are going through the program. I'll just say,
and I can think of like 80 people right now who think that we're targeting them.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Yeah. Okay, this is a problem that's pervasive throughout our practice. It's pervasive throughout our culture, because frankly, lots of times you're being marketed to, you don't even know it. People are trying to mislead you online so that it creates confusion for you. So then you're going down XYZ path in terms of trying to figure out your problem. And I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, go.
But our producer just brought up, we're being approached pretty frequently now due to the popularity of our big broadcasts that we do before these keys to success for our patients, where people are trying to use our videos to basically market their product and they want to give us a cut of it. And we don't really feel that's right, because again, it's misleading. So on this topic of basically patients overutilizing the internet to figure out what's wrong, it's an issue. It's an issue for people in our practice. And then go ahead, I cut you off.
Oh, no. I mean, I'll get mine in.
Okay. So here's kind of the case in point. These are complicated problems going on with you, most of you. And it takes years to really figure out what's going on, not only in school, but in practice with these problems. And no, none of us are perfect, but I think we have a pretty good record of doing the right thing and figuring things out in terms of our patients. And we were talking about going through school. And when Dr. Rutherford went through school, and when I went through school, through chiro school, we get a pathology book. And when you're studying pathology, inevitably, he thought he had every disease under the sun. I thought I had every disease under the sun. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh.
It's like, oh, it's third trimester, we're going through pathology. The third trimester group is all going to think they're sick.
Exactly. I think I have burning when I urinate. So do I have gonorrhea? Even though that's probably not happening. So we all think that we have all these things wrong. And unfortunately for you as a patient, now you're going online looking at these things, and then people are trying to market you, trying to scare you. You have different forums. You don't know who the references are on these forums. And so as a result, then maybe it's creating more anxiety for you, more health anxiety. As a consequence, and we have people coming in here even more confused, kind of bewildered, and we have to redirect them pretty frequently. So it's not easy to be a doctor, and it's frankly not easy to be a patient in 2016, because we have so much more information. And we try to handle it pretty diplomatically. I know other doctors who actually can become irate over this issue, which, is fair enough. When you have a neurosurgeon having somebody ask them, well, have you thought of a compression fracture as a problem? It can be a little insulting. So that's what I have to say. I'm going to tie one more thing in before we leave this topic.
When we do our podcasts and these videos that go online and on YouTube, I frequently start out by saying we're sharing aspects of clinical care that we found work consistently and that are consistently successful. And we certainly add the qualifier of improperly selected patients. When I was talking to you the very first day you came in, I have a list. It's sitting on my desk. I don't have to look at it. I have a list in my mind of about 25 different red flags that tell me that this case either isn't good from a physiological perspective. In other words, you're taking 25 drugs, you got a bunch of organs that are gone, you're having trouble remembering things, so you might not be able to use, unfortunately, your faculties to get through it. But I must tell you, then there are other types of red flags, like, do you have support from somebody in your families, from your partner, those things. These are important things. But the biggest red flag for me, I'm probably gonna have a bunch of people come in my office now, so I'm writing while you're going out. The biggest red flag for me is when the person starts off by saying, I did my research. So I'm just going to politely say this, all right? We are on patient number 37,800 in this office of patients that have come through this office for a variety of musculoskeletal, metabolic, and neurological symptoms. I started keeping those numbers after I was in practice for 7 years, okay? Dr. Gates has been here for 7 years. We see 2 new patients a day, 5 days a week. Dr. Gates is a board-certified functional neurologist. I can't even tell you how hard that is. Okay, there's like 400 or 425 of these people in the world. The test is like 16 hours long. It's crazy. It really is an amazing thing, okay? We both have been through school. I have a degree in human anatomy and physiology. We have worked with what works and what doesn't work and so on and so forth. And on top of it, we do a lot of research. Since Dr. Gates here, I mean, he's like, you know, he's got no life. That's what he does. He does research when he's not around here because he wants to know everything that we can do and implement to help to make your case more successful, to get it done quicker, to get it done with less supplements. We even talked the other day that maybe there's a possibility that one day we're even going to be able to do it without using any medical involvement and things like that. We're not there yet. Okay, so this is how it goes. And then there's the perception that, so there's the perception of the patient that they have the background. Look, I taught human anatomy and physiology. You can't even begin to do diagnosis until you understand human anatomy and physiology and biochemistry. You can't, because you don't understand all of the different biochemical pathways, how they interact. We don't know everything that's going on in the gut. What's there, 4 pounds of bacteria in the gut? Mm-hmm. And we now know that rheumatoid arthritis comes from the gut, and we think maybe MS comes from the gut. Mm-hmm. They're saying maybe MS has leaky gut. It's coming from leaky gut and/or Epstein. Now they're saying for sure that it does.
It has.
So there you go. So we've seen MS patients get much better once they got past the gut thing. We see that. So we would say these types of things, and we say them because we see them. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the internet is there to sell you stuff. The internet is there to make a point. I mean, it's very difficult to go on the internet and be able to, and for us to look at it. I mean, I look this stuff up literally every day, and to see what people are putting out there and how it's one thing taken out of context to sell a product, or it's the leaky gut diet. Okay. And here's the deal with the leaky gut diet. If you happen to be one of our patients who's like in post-traumatic stress syndrome or chronic fight-flight syndrome, it's not going to work because the leaky gut diet person doesn't tell you that you're flooding your gut with stress hormones 24 hours a day, and everything that you're giving them, that they're giving you to do online, is not going to work. There's hundreds of things like that. And I'm just making this, I mean, I'm getting a little, I don't know if I want to say impassioned or anything, but we're not perfect. We don't know everything, and we know that we don't know everything, but we do know what we know. And we've taken a long time to put this a logarithm together. When my mentor was doing this, and my mentor taught me everything, he was doing the gut last. Let's do blood sugar first, and let's do the adrenals, the infamous adrenals, and let's do what else? It was blood sugar. It was
adrenals, thyroid.
It was just a bunch of, and I was talking to Dr. Gates one day, and I said, okay, you've been here long enough. And this is when I was still doing it. And I said, when do we get like dramatic results? And he said, when we do the gut. I went, so let's do that first. Okay. Now we know how do we do that? From observation, from understanding, from trial and error. And then we understood you can't fix the gut until you find out everything that's in there. And then we found out that the testing for finding everything that's in there wasn't very good. And we found out that all allergy testing stinks. And we had to understand all of these things. But you're still looking online at the allergy test. People are still coming in here shoving me all these different amino acid tests and the allergy test and the stool test and the parasite test, a vast majority of which, by the way, are inconsistent and unreliable. In the Lyme world, oh my God, I mean, the people who are treating even consider it all unreliable. So I'm trying to make the point that when a person comes in here and they're certain that they understand what's going on, and they're sitting here in front of me telling me their gut still hurts, they still got brain fog, I am polite, and I don't say this, and I'm only saying this because you are already patients here, and I think you understand us a little bit. But we still get folks that come in, we talk about this, they say, I'm going to do everything you asked me to do. I explain to them how organized the logarithm is that we do, and still they will go online and get another supplement while we're treating them and not tell us. Or maybe they'll start to eat gluten again because they decided that it didn't bother their gut, not remembering or knowing that in older people it doesn't bother your gut, but it screws up your brain. I almost said a bad word, but it screws up your brain. It screws up, it causes brain fog, it causes short-term memory loss, it can cause prolonged. I mean, it's so complex from that perspective. And so then we get the patient who, then we have the patient, and if you're watching, who was very, very ill and was being treated by the VA, and they told him not to come here. And then after he came here, they told him to keep coming here because they couldn't believe that someone with these kind of problems was getting better. And then he comes back 6 months later and he's practically dying. And his neighbor, who's a chiropractor, sold him a supplement that boosts his immune system. If you're in this office, I'm going to tell you, you don't need your immune system boosted. You need to calm down. This gentleman was majorly sick. And finally, after pulling teeth, he said, oh, I'm starting to take a new supplement. The internet is 100 times that. Everybody is an expert. Nobody has to be vetted. We attach, if you watch our Hangouts, we attach anywhere from 15 to 30, sometimes more peer-reviewed journal references, so people know we're not making this stuff up. And we don't discuss anything here that we haven't seen be detrimental to the patient. So I mean, I just, I just got to tell you that it's like bad territory out there if you start getting in there and you read one thing and all of a sudden it's I think this is it. There is no one thing. Go watch there is no silver bullet presentation. If you're having the need to go on and research all this, if you think that, if you think that, look, I've got 2 college degrees and I'm in this profession, and if you think that you understand all this and you don't have 400 or 500 hours of functional medicine and you don't have a degree after going to school, and learning diagnosis, and if you think that you understand the brain because you read some brain book that you got at Don's Pharmacy off of the wall that tells you to take the supplements from the guy who wrote the brain book because he's trying to sell you supplements. I mean, then you're going to get sick again. You're going to get sick. You're going to do things. We have already looked at all of that. If it has been out there up until this date and time, we have looked at it. I mean, I can say that with full confidence only because he's sitting here and I know he's nuts, and he goes, and he's always he comes in every day with something that I can't even keep up with. And it's always something that is valid. It's always something that moves it forward. There is a lot we don't know because it's not known yet, but we know what we don't know. So, I mean, help us out to help you to stay better, please. Right. At least if you're going to come in here with something from the internet, give us some credit that if we kind of say, listen, we're aware of this. We've already evaluated. Yes, it can have a value. No, it's not a value. Yes, we've already tried it, but we found something that works much better, et cetera, et cetera. Understand, our whole goal is to get you better as quickly as possible, as cost effectively as possible, although it may not seem that way to some of you, and ultimately to have you as much on your own as possible when you're done. That is our goal. And every step of the way, we're trying to get better and better and better and better at it. And if you work with us and really help us out and not be one of those red flag guys who comes in here and insists that, that, look, I went to Dr. Axe, who to me.
I mean, the perfect case in point for me, the reason why we're doing this, I had a little bit of car trouble on Sunday. And so I was looking online about maybe what was going on. And so I have no qualifications to do this. None. Okay, none. But I went online thinking, oh, I think it's this. Thank goodness I knew better than to say it to my mechanic, not my mechanic. I'm privileged to be a client of this guy. That's truly how I feel. So I took it to him. He was gracious enough to evaluate it. And he said, oh, no, it's this. It's this problem. Never in a million years would I have known that. But this is all he does. And so he's done it for years and years and years. It just really illustrated the point to me how futile it is to look online and for us to try and figure out these problems when really they're ever so complicated. So hence it applies here. So this is Power Health Keys to Success number 52. It's our year anniversary. Yay. And this is Dr. Rutherford, certified functional medicine practitioner, also a chiropractor. I'm Dr. Randall Gates, board certified chiropractic neurologist, also a chiropractor. Send us your topics, send us your suggestions, and we'll see you next week.